Welcome everyone. Episode two of Ben's Den. I'm really happy to be back. Episode two was super fun. We had on my Master Creed for Taekwondo. I've been working with him for 9 years, and he's just so great. But we have a new guest on, and it's my brother, Caleb Polsky. Hey,
Hi
Caleb.
everyone. How you doing?
I'm super happy to have him on. Even though he is a family member and he's not like some sort of like karate master type of guest, he brings his own perspectives that I love and that I want to share with everyone. So today, really briefly, I want to talk about what we're going to be discussing. So Caleb is my brother. He is 22 years old and he is fresh out of college. And so I want to talk about with him, especially since mindfulme is very targeted towards mindfulness and how that applies in school. I want to talk about his mindfulness techniques and tips when it comes to higher education, aka college. Um, yeah, and also now that he's just out of college, his mindfulness tips and tricks. Now that he's out of college into the real world. So yeah, so just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started, Caleb.
Well, hi Ben. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me to do this. I'm really excited and happy to be here. Um, Most importantly, because you are my brother and I'm just happy to support everything you do. But the most exciting thing about this is that there is an audience of high schoolers who are interested in this. That is not something that and I'm only 6 years older than you, so I didn't go to high school that long ago, but um, this is something that even in my era of high school, it was not like a discussed topic. It wasn't, I think there were certainly people who employed techniques of mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
um, but there was no sort of organization around it and kind of widespread acknowledgement that it was valid and highly important to one's well-being. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm really encouraged and happy to see everything that's going on with y'all in this group. So thank you so much for having me. Um, so you said mindfulness techniques that I've used. Do you mean in high school or in college or one and then the other? Or
Well, I guess I meant one or the other, but especially when it comes to uh, college, because we do have a lot of people who use mindfulme that when it comes to using our school tools, yes, it's very useful in high school, but practically, how do you use mindfulness in a day-to-day? So, yeah, you can go through starting out what you did in high school, what you did in college, what you are now doing now that you're out of college. And if you guys didn't know, Caleb went to University of Miami and he got a double major, so he was working really hard, more than any other college student. Whenever I would call him, he would still always pick up. I don't know how he had the time to pick up, but he would always pick up and he's always doing, I've got this to do, I got this to do, then I got this group to lead. And I'm like, how the hell does this guy do it? And he has to have some sort of mindfulness, I guess, some sort of thing to keep him in the present moment, to not get caught up within everything that's going on. So I just want to know. I just want to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So I want to be super transparent. I did not start at 100. That's not um, my story, but I think overall it's just not realistic to expect anybody to start at their 100% of hitting their
Mm,
stride and getting everything they want in their life going great. Like it it's kind of uh, idealistic and fantasy to think that one day you're going to wake up and your life's going to be as perfect as you want it. That's not realistic. At least that's
mhm,
not been my experience. In my experience, it is a hard and very linear slog of adding piece by piece
mm,
your world until it reflects how you want it to. Um, so that being said, I think my where I have to start in talking about this question, Ben, is it's going to look different for everybody. There's no formula that one person can give you, or that one discipline or subject matter can give you, that is going to shed light on everything, because we're complex humans, right? We have many different
Mm,
interests, and we think about the world in many different ways. And um, even within one person, we think about things from many different angles. We're complex. So I would say, in building one's kind of mindfulness uh, package,
mhm,
to not limit yourself to finding just one answer. And that's, I think, something that you say, how do you break out of the school box to it? And I think that's absolutely on the money. We're conditioned through school, and it makes sense, right? But in school, we're conditioned to look for a right answer, that there is a correct answer to it, that there's multiple choice of these are my options. Um, and the truth is, in higher education, but especially outside of higher education, in the real world, um, there is no right answer.
mm,
There is no objective truth. It is only uh, the world as you see it. So I would encourage everyone to be open to finding inspiration and mindfulness techniques from a whole different wherever it comes up in your life, to just
mm,
be open and honest and attentive and paying it, close attention. That you know I I'm trying to think about my mindfulness toolbox of what things do I take with me, um, to kind of keep myself together. And it comes from every part of my life, every uh, mentor or teacher who's been extraordinary and impacted me. Something they've said that, when things get hard, it's like, ding, remember they said this. Oh my God, you're right. I need to take a breath and step back. It's not that deep, or whatever. Um, Different after school activities that I did, everything from Krav Maga to piano to
mm.
dance, has me doing, taking pieces from each and kind of adding to my toolbox. And I think that's really the biggest thing, is that as you grow, you stay open to taking inspiration and pieces of mindfulness from everywhere in your life. And whatever works for you, and whatever doesn't,
Mhm.
doesn't. Right? For me, uh, I detested yoga when I first started it. I maybe did it for the first time when I was like 13 or 14, right? I went to some yoga class with mom, and I was
Right,
like,
right.
this is hard, and I'm impatient, and this is not giving. This is not what I want.
And
Um,
I'm not strong enough to do.
I'm
We
not
do
sure.
we do mindful me. We do a lot of yoga. We have yoga tutorials on our website. Miss Thomas in the club, she is a teacher at
Mm,
our school. She teaches us yoga, and I love it so much. But boy, I'm up there in that downward dog. I'm like, Miss
sweating.
Thomas, like what is going on? And then it's like, all right. Then after the downward dog, it's like, yoga's fun when you're not
You're
getting
into
the
it.
core workout.
Exactly. Well, it's all about the mindset you're going into with it. I mean,
Right.
yoga is particularly um, effective as a tool for mindfulness, because it requires physical and mental
Mm,
and oftentimes emotional and spiritual, like, discipline and connectivity. So I think it's a super great tool. But it wasn't until college for me that it clicked. It wasn't until halfway through college for me that it clicked. During the pandemic, actually, it was I kept open to the stimulus that was around me, and the pandemic hit, and I was in need of some new mindfulness techniques to um, adjust to the new normal. And the classes we were taking had a lot of yoga. Uh, like, my academic classes had yoga, and it took off for me. It really resonated as a great means to calm myself and find some inner peace and perspective. And anyway, that's just one of my uh, tools in my toolbox, so to speak. But yeah, I would say to stay open, that there's no right answer
mm.
to where inspiration can be found, and to just be really open and curious about the world, and take what you can from it.
I love that. For as you said, it's different for everyone. For me, I have my own. But I also like how you made it clear that it's not set in stone and that it changes because everything changes and you change and it comes along with you.
Absolutely.
And that's great. What we do like to focus a lot on here on Ben Sten is a lot of when it comes to mindfulness, how we treat our body when it comes to what we put in it, when it comes to
Mm.
food, when it comes to when we do exercise, and basically how we treat our body and how that relates to our mind's health. I know that for me, especially recently, I have been really, really trying to eat a lot of green foods, and and me and Caleb are both vegetarian, pescatarian. We sometimes eat fish, but um, so our whole life we have not had meat, either of us. We have not had meat that walks on land. And and our dad used to tell us because he grew up in Texas, he grew up eating the steak and the chicken and you know, there's something called chicken fried steak, so they combine the two. So he grew up and he said, you know, vegetarian, you can be a vegetarian and you can still be the most unhealthy person in the world. You can still eat Oreos every day. You can still eat bread, whatever. You can still choose to be unhealthy. And I found that at least for me, I've started to like notice that at least in my head that started to ring true. So I've been trying to eat a lot of more greens recently, and I don't know if you can tell, but your brother's been hitting the gym more.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can
buddy.
tell. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, so I just want to know because I know you are a great cook. Like whenever I'm over, you always take something like out of the blue and you just like grab it and you make like a healthy, good meal. Um, but like you like to make your own food. Like, it's got to be like it's got to be like yours. And had a lot of yoga. I know you had a lot of very intense dance classes. And like that's a lot of exercise in and of itself. I just want to know for you, whether that be high school or college or afterwards, but I really am interested in college. Like what was that like for you? Because college is just like a more intense high school, right? Except you're more independent, and that's why it's more intense. So, if I'm finding a struggle trying to manage it in high school, how do I be successful, in higher education and higher learning? How did you do it?
I think that is a brilliant question. There is, especially now, a huge I mean, it's not new, but a huge issue with uh, body image, and I think nutrition is absolutely tied to that.
Mm,
And my biggest wish on that front is that uh, people can be more compassionate to themselves
mm,
because it is never as drastic as you see it. Um, it is just simply never that uh, people see you as harshly as you see yourself. So I would really hope that on this front of nutrition and wellness through eating and about body image, that people can treat themselves with a little more compassion.
mm,
Um, so my my college experience was unique. I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in musical theater, um, as well as a Bachelor of Arts in political science. But the musical theater degree is where I had the things like yoga and dance classes that you're discussing, and that is a brilliant space to kind of put a microscope up and see what's going on in terms
mm,
of nutrition and exercise because it's tied to your success in a lot of ways. That, um, well, in reality, it is again never as drastic as one's own uh, image of it is. It's absolutely a program with, and it's not just my school, but we actually did a whole month dedicated to social action around this about wellness and nutrition in theater, because it is a place where you don't have very much time to eat well, because you have,
Right.
20 minutes between class and rehearsal, and then that's 20 hours a day that you've been going straight, and you realize you've only had a granola bar or a banana, and
Right,
that's
and then you have to
absolutely
stuff
not
your face
healthy.
backstage, but in between scenes, and you're just like,
Exactly.
oh
And
gosh.
that might not even be happening with some people who might have uh, hesitation around that, right?
Right.
And on top of it, the work that we're doing during those 20 hours when we're not backstage eating a banana is things like heavy dancing, right? Or
Mm,
big, highly physical roles where we need to be on our hands and knees for 4 hours straight. Like some really physically demanding things. So it was um, a brilliant opportunity to really explore my own relationship with my body and what I eat,
mm.
um, because it was being demanded of us. It was, again, staying open to the stimulus that the world presents you. And at any given point, you can look around and say, I'm trying to learn this lesson. Let me see how that presents in my life. And in my life during college, it presented through theater. So we are taking these dance classes and movement classes and yoga and stuff. And I start realizing that I need to be honest about my relationship with my body,
Mm,
and be able to push it and train it, and also let it rest and take
mm.
care of it. And especially in college when there's a lot of partying happening too, there's
I knew you were about to say that.
sometimes you got to be a big kid and tell yourself, no, I'm not gonna do that. That's
Right.
I know that that's not good for me right now, so I'm gonna hold off on that. Now, when it comes to food specifically, I I I like to enjoy the world through many different art forms, right? And that may sound stupid and pretentious, but it's true. I really enjoy enjoying things.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
cuisine and culinary arts is just another avenue for that.
Mm,
So I treat myself well by using food and cuisine as an opportunity to explore the world and see all the amazing things that people have figured out before I was ever even on this planet. And it becomes this wonderful canvas for like expression and all the brilliant meta philosophical things that any art form does, food does. So that's really how I where I ended up, at least. And I don't want to say ended up because I'm not done in my journey. I'm only 22, but that's where I'm at right now in my food excuse me, my food journey specifically, is I'm I'm here for a relatively short amount of time on the planet, right? Why would I bother doing something so often like eating and not
enjoy.
enjoy it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like Mr. Katz, who he has a podcast that he does with his son. One of the episodes, he was just talking about. He was like, when he was talking on the podcast, he was talking about. He's like, I'm just making myself a salad, and his son, he was making himself like some like fish in the oven, and it's like, yeah, like you can live your life while you like feed yourself and treat yourself well. Like, he's like doing a podcast spreading mindfulness while he's making a salad because he's not choosing to wait till the podcast is over to quickly stuff his face with a granola bar like you said a lot of people do it like when they're busy or something and like he's the busiest guy I know and he's still taking time for himself to actually take the time to make something that's healthy and that he likes. So something I'm hearing from you, kind of moving on, but also like in relation to what you said last, like that kind of I feel sums it all up is you hmm, how should I say you can adjust you should adjust your food and nutrition based on habit. Um and you can add to that or correct me, but um that's I guess that's kind of how I see it, you know. Um our bodies are accustomed to our habits. They're accustomed to our waking times, our sleeping times. When we get hungry, I know that, on days that I have A lunch versus B lunch, I get hungrier earlier versus I get hungrier later at around B lunch, you know? And so I think that our bodies, well, I know that our bodies are already accustomed to our habits. And so I think that, as habits change, as people change, just like you said at the beginning, as our set of toolbox changes, as we evolve, so does that. That's just one part of it, an equally important part of it. I
Yeah,
know.
and no, I
Sorry.
mean, I just think the only thing I'd add to that is you've got to be honest with yourself about what your life looks like, what
Right.
your constraints are of
Right.
I work from this time to this time, so I know that's not a good time for me to plan on taking care of my body by eating a good meal or going on a walk or meditating or whatever. Um, you need to be honest with yourself and help yourself succeed. Give yourself the tools to succeed. Don't neglect yourself.
I love that. And that, yeah, that's good. I like that addition at the end. To be honest with yourself. And honestly, sometimes that takes another person. Like I know you'll always be a very honest person for me, like someone that's, maybe they might indulge me here and there to maybe make me feel good because you're my brother, you want to do that, but you'll be like, all right, Ben, like, listen up, like you gotta focus here. And I
I
know
try
I
not
know
to
that
too
like
much.
I know that like that has taken me such a long way. Like when remember like when we used to be kids, when we would fall down, scrape a knee, it's not, oh, let me help you up, let me make sure you're okay. Like our parents would, let me help you up, let me make sure you're okay. They'd be like that some of the time, but a lot of the time it's all right, like all right, you know, dust it off, you can get up type of thing. Um, because they're being honest with you, because they know what you can do, and they know what you can achieve, and they also know what you can't. And I think that being honest with yourself or having someone be honest with you, especially when it comes to someone being honest with you, you have to make sure it's a person that really, really, really knows you and really knows what's best for you. I know that you know basically 100% of the time, if not 100% of the time, what the best choice is. So like I'm gonna listen, So I think that's just all part of what we were just talking about in general, which is keeping an open mind, keeping in open ears to listen to others and listen to people that you trust. I know that one aspect of mindfulness that you taught me about a lot, without knowing this intentionally, like we never sat down and had a conversation about this, but is
Uh-oh.
aromatherapy is
Oh,
aromatherapy. And I'm not sure what you were about to say, but you can say it. But
no,
but
I was like, oh no, what are you gonna say?
no, no, no. So I just want everyone to know, I don't, if anyone knows me at school, I always got this scent on school. I always got this scent on me that I make, okay? And whenever I'm around Caleb, okay, he gets completely annoyed by it because I'm just like, because I'm just like, no oxygen type of thing, like only this spray, And I guess that's maybe overdoing it, even though I just love how it smells. Anyways, Caleb he has this whole thing of like scents and like potions that, and I stayed at his house. No, okay, come on. But I stayed at his house like when like COVID first started, when COVID was first getting started. I stayed at his house and it was really just me and Caleb. And we were basically just isolating from the rest of the world for about 2 weeks. And that like unintentionally taught me so much. This is when he still was in Miami going to college. That taught me so much. Like I was like, I know what this smells like. I know what them both combined smells like. And I think that honestly, that time where it was just us taking time to just think about things deeper, and just think about things with like under a microscope, it gave such a positive benefit, at least to me, when it came to mindfulness and aromatherapy, which is one of my favorite things. And I appreciate it. I guess I've never really like even realized that until now, but like now I definitely realize that because our mom, me and Kill's mom, she loves scents and stuff, but like I don't like, go into her room and rummage through all her scents and essential oils and all that stuff because it's her room. But it's like your brother, you touched your brother's things, like you don't care. It's your brother, like like the most they can do is like get mad at you. But it's like where he's in his own house living in Miami, he's not gonna what is he gonna do? Tell mom? So I'm like, okay, but so I'm like rummaging through his stuff, like, and I'm like, this is cool stuff, and I know Caleb knows this, but now he's living in Washington, D.C. He's living free. He's a working man. And when I went up with him from Florida to move him up to D.C., and I took a couple of things back with me. I took a couple of things back with me to Florida.
Stole my items. Uh-huh.
I took a couple of great smelling scents, a good smelling lotion back with me. Uh, I just had to, man, and I couldn't tell you, but if anyone watching this has a sibling or someone like a sibling, you know what it's like. You know what it's like. It's happened to you, or you've done it to your sibling. So I just gotta get that off the record. But
Yeah,
I do
I'll
appreciate it
never
because
forgive you.
because actually no, this has nothing to do with it. But this is the best, and that lotion that I took that no that I borrowed from you is
Sure.
the
I don't think
best.
I'm ever getting it back. You didn't borrow it. It's yours now. Is what it
Hey
is.
man, I'm in a different state, so you can't do
Yeah,
anything
good
about it.
luck to me, I guess. I can't do anything.
Maybe that'll
Um,
be like a little early Hanukkah gift. I'll give you back like a half of a bottle of good smelling lotion that you
Lotion
used to
that I've
own.
now gone without for the last 5 months. No, listen, I also agree that that time, right when COVID first hit, was monumental for so many things. It was really this meeting point of crisis and also uh, revelation,
Yeah, I was about to say realization.
in so many ways. And I'm glad that something as crazy as sense and how random um resonated with you. That's awesome. I love my diffuser, dude. It's incredible.
mm, mm. It, well, with your sense, No, I'm
I
kidding.
know we did it. Well, apparently, I need it. Thank you so much.
I'm kidding. Anyways, that is time for us. I really do appreciate you having you on. One of the benefits about having a brother is you can force him to do anything. You can say like, "Hey, like come on my podcast," and they really can't say no, right? So
No,
thank you
I
so much for
tried.
coming, even though you kind of had to. I'm kidding, but thank you so much for coming. I really
Of
appreciate it.
course. Yeah, you'll be next on mine. And if I can offer one last thing on
Yes, yes.
food, no, the relationship to food mattering. There is this one episode of Chef's Table on Netflix that I go back to so often because it is just tantalizing to watch, but the points made in the episode are mind blowing. So Chef's Table, obviously, this Netflix show that follows
Right.
all these fascinating and unique um, chefs from around the world, and each episode follows them and what they do. And this one episode in season 3, I think it is, follows this monk in Korea, and
Oh,
she is brilliant. She grows all her own food, but
oh,
beyond that, she knows the spiritual and physical value of each food. So she's like, I don't use onions because that spikes your energy too hard spiritually. And I was like, whoa, what? What are you talking? I'm actually gonna watch it tonight after we get off. It is, it's such a calming episode and so fascinating to hear um, other people, but also other cultures' approach to nutrition as
mm,
part of wellness. So I
yeah.
highly
So
recommend
it's
everybody
called
go watch
Chef's
that.
Table.
Chef's Table. It's somewhere in
Okay.
season 3. It is about a Korean monk.
So if anyone watching season three Chef's Table, uh, Korean monk nutrition episode, and is that correct?
Something like that. Yeah.
Love that. Anyways, thank you, Caleb, so much. I love
Of
you.
course. I love you too. Thank you everybody for tuning in and listening to
Yes,
our
thank you, everyone.
ramblings.
Check out any more of the podcasts, meditation, school tools. We have meditations in Spanish on mindfulme.org. That's mindfullme.org. And we hope you can come empty your glass with us. Thank you guys. See you next time.